Good morning, boys. Today we are focusing on real life situations involving both percentage increase and decrease. So we're going to pay attention to the keywords so as to recognize whether it is a percentage increase or a percentage decrease. Because if it is a percentage increase, we must add, all right, to find the new percentage. But if it is a percentage decrease, we must subtract to find the new percentage. Okay? Let's start with the first example. Sally's investment of €450 has gone up by 30%. While Susie's investment of €650 has gone down by 10%. Who now has the larger amount of money, Sally or Susie? Okay, so let's mark the keywords first. So in case of Sally's, her investment has gone up, all right? So we must add in that case. And in the case of Susie, her investment has gone down, so we must subtract in that case, okay? Let's start with Sally, okay? So let's start with Sally. And remember that we must find the new percentage first. Now, the original percentage, boys, is always the 100%. It increased, all right, gone up. The increase, it's an increase of 30%, and since it's an increase, we must add. So new percentage is equal to the 130%, right? Now 130% of what? 130% of 450. So 130% of 450. 130%, boys, means 130 out of 100. Instead of I write a multiplication sign. €450. I can cancel the 1 0 of the 100 with 1 0 of the 130, the other 0 of the 100 with the 0 of the 450. Now 13 times 45, okay, is equal to 585. So now, boys, Sally, all right, has 585, all right. Now, regarding Susie, her investment of 650 has gone down by 10%. So, Susie now the original percentage is the 100%. The decrease is 10%, so we subtract. So the new percentage is equivalent to 90%, okay? 90% of what? 90%, right? So 90% of 650. So 90 out of 100 times 650. I can cancel the 0 of the 90 with the 0 of the 100, the 0 of the 100 with the 65, and if I multiply 65 times 9, The answer is 585. And as you can see, both have the same amount of money. Alright? So I can say that both Sally and Susie have the same amount of money. So Sally and Susie have the same amount of money. Okay, so we worked the amount obtained by Sally, we worked the amount obtained by Susie, and in both cases, right, I ended up with 585, alright? That means that both Sally and Susie have the same amount of money. Okay, let's discuss example 2. In example 2, we have the situation is James is buying a table. He finds the same table for sale in 2 different shops. One shop is Table World, where the table costs €140 with prices include VAT. So that is the final price of the table. Whereas at the shop Table Saras, the table costs €120, but the prices do not include VAT, so I must calculate the price with VAT. When buying the table, the rate of VAT was 18%. Now, boys, when we have VAT, alright, we need to add because that is a tax, alright? Which shop is better value? You must show your working. Okay, let's we don't have to calculate anything for Table World, but we must calculate the price of the table with the 18% VAT in the case of Table Saras. Alright, So, in the case of Tables Aras, okay, I have the original percentage, which is the 100%. The VAT is at 18%. So I need to add because VAT is a tax. So the new percentage of the table is the 118% because 100 plus 18. 118 of what? 118 of 120. So I need to calculate the 118% of €120. Now, 118% is written as 118 all over 100. Instead of off, I write a multiplication sign, 120 equals. I can cancel the 0 of the 100 with the 0 of the 100, 20. I can cancel 10 with 12 since they are both multiples of 2. 2 into 10 goes 5, 2 into 12 goes 6, alright? I remain with 118 all over 5 times 6. And if I work out 118 division by 5 and then multiply by 6, I end up with €141.60, right? So if I work out 118% of 120, the new price of the table is 141.6. So the question, so the table from the shop table world costs 140, and that is the final price because prices include VAT. Whereas the table from Table Saras, all right, costs now, together with the VAT, costs 141.60. So the shop which is offering the better value is Table World, all right, because its price, it's 140, whereas the price from Table Saras is 141.6. So the shop offering the best value is Table World. Okay. Okay, so this is the second example. The third example, all right, let's discuss this third example now. A ball dropped from a height of 3 meters and is allowed to bounce repeatedly. Each time it rises to a height which is 80% of the height it fell from. All right? Question A. What height does the ball rise to after the first bounce? All right? So, the new percentage, boys, is already calculated, all right? That is 80%. So we don't need to calculate the new percentage. The new percentage, let's write it down. The new percentage is already calculated, all right? That is the 80%. So after the first bounce, the ball is going to rise 80%, all right, of the 3 meters. Instead of 80%, I can write 80 out of 100. Instead of I can write a multiplication sign, and instead of 3 meters, I can change it, okay, to avoid the decimal point, into 300 centimeters, all right? So, if I cancel the zeros of the 100 with the zeros of the 300, I end up with 8 times 3, 240 centimeters. So after the first bounce, all right, the ball is going to rise only 240 centimeters. We can write it down. After first bounce, the ball rises, up to a height of 240 centimeters. Okay. Now, what height does the ball rise to after the second bounce? Alright, after the second bounce, the ball only manages to rise 80% of the height. Okay, So it manages to rise, boys, 80% of the 240 centimeters. Okay, we can write 80% as 80 all over 100. Instead of off, I can write the multiplication sign and instead and 240 centimeters. Now I can cancel the 0 of the 80 with the 0 of the 100, the other 0 of the 100 with the 0 of the 240, and if I multiply 24 by 8, okay, I end up with 192 centimeters. All right, so after second bounce, ball rises 192 centimeters only. Okay, so we've managed to discuss different situations, boys, involving percentage increase and decrease. You must it would be best if you underline the keywords to understand whether you need to add or subtract to obtain the new percentage, and pay attention also where in cases where, just like the last example, you were given the new percentage, alright? It was already given. We didn't need to calculate anything, okay? Pay attention. So your homework, boys, would be very similar to these questions we discussed. Obviously, different situations. But the trick is to underline the keywords, to understand whether you need to work out a percentage increase or you need to work out a percentage decrease. Okay, boys, that's all for today now. Good day and take care.